Imagine that you are planning a clinical trial where you already know that some of the babies that you enroll in your trial are going to get infected with a lifelong virus that can lead to death. You can prevent this for a few dollars, but you decide not to. This is actually baked into the design of a clinical trial that has been in the news recently. And you don't need a PhD in bioethics to understand that this is completely unethical. This trial has gotten a lot of media coverage over the past few months, as it should. It's a proposed randomized clinical trial of the hepatitis B vaccine in Guinea-Bissau, which is a country in West Africa. The investigators are from Denmark, and there they have received in the past some pretty harsh criticism about their scientific conduct. The trial was going to be funded by the CDC, which is looking for evidence that vaccines are harmful. The trial was originally supposed to start at the end of 2025. It was delayed until the beginning of 2026. Then it was suspended temporarily by the Ministry of Health for review. It might be canceled and off permanently, maybe, hopefully, because that would be the right thing to do. The trial plans to enroll 14,500 babies in Guinea-Bissau. There's going to be two arms. The first arm, babies will receive the hepatitis B vaccine at birth. In the second arm, babies will receive the hepatitis B vaccine at 6 weeks of age. And all of the other childhood vaccines are delivered according to schedule. The goal of the trial is to see if giving the hepatitis B vaccine at birth causes other sorts of problems like autism or rashes. There are other scientific problems with this study design. There's no placebo, the endpoints are weird. If you're interested in learning about those, I put some links into the description. But I'm going to talk about the ethical problem. The investigators themselves estimate that 15% of the mothers are infected with hepatitis B. That is very, very high. In the United States, it's a lot lower than 1%. Even for West Africa, this is very, very high. Hepatitis B can be easily transmitted in childbirth. If the mother is infected, there is a 20 to 90% probability that the child will also be infected, and it depends on how infectious the mother is. Of the children who get infected, 25% of them will eventually die from liver cancer or complete liver failure. So, in this trial, 7,250 babies are randomized to the arm that don't get the hepatitis B vaccine at birth. About 1,000 of those mothers are going to be infected with hepatitis B. That means that hundreds of children in this clinical trial arm are eventually going to die of hepatitis B. Why don't they just test the mothers for hepatitis B? I mean, this is a finger stick that you do in the clinic. It costs a couple of bucks. And if the mother has hepatitis B, well, you can just give those babies the hepatitis B vaccine. I mean, you don't even have to pay for the vaccine. The government has already procured enough vaccine for the entire country. It's just that they give it at 6 weeks, not at birth. In fact, this is what is actually in the protocol, but only for 250 patients in a small sub-study. They want to confirm. They want to know, is it 15% of the mothers have hepatitis B, or 18%, or maybe it's 13%? 250 moms will be tested for hepatitis B. And then they write, if those mothers test positive for hepatitis B, well, then we'll remove those children from the study. We'll immediately give them hepatitis B vaccine to prevent them from the infection. Why don't they do this for everyone? The most revealing quote comes from the investigator herself, Christine Stabell, Benn.
I'm not a health service provider. I'm a researcher, so I'm studying vaccines. If I just gave vaccines to all children, I would be a vaccine provider. So that is this is like mixing apples and bananas. It has nothing to do with research. I'm happy that there are health services, but they do what they do. I do what I do, and that is research.
I have to say, there are a lot of global health researchers that probably agree with her. But maybe she should look at it not as a researcher, but just as a human being. If you can prevent hundreds of children in your clinical trial from dying of hepatitis B, just for a few bucks, wouldn't you do that? I mean, after all, they are supporting your career. This sort of media coverage of a clinical trial in a poor country is highly abnormal. In these poor countries, you can pretty much do whatever you want and nobody is going to care. The best way to think about ethics in global health is not about ethical review committees or declarations of Helsinki or equipoise. It's really about, can you look at yourself in the morning in the mirror? By the way this trial got funded is also bonkers. According to the Rolling Stone, the investigators got $1.8 million from the Pershing Square Foundation. This is Bill Ackman's family foundation. It's not a research foundation, but apparently he's a supporter of Trump and RFK Jr. So she emails her friends at the CDC and says, I just need another $1.8 million and I can launch this trial immediately. Apparently, it took 10 days for this to be approved. And no, it's not completely weird for non-competitive grants to be awarded. This isn't a huge amount of money, but the people making this decision, they were not scientists, they were political hacks. Science is supposed to be apolitical, but when politics and culture wars have taken over the CDC, this is the sort of bad science that results. It doesn't take a bioethicist to see the ethical dilemma. It just takes a little bit of common sense. If you like this video, check out some of my other explainers about global health in the news. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.